So with that, I'm going to pull off into the trailer park because we have a few hitters here to talk about.
I think we need to finish with the two bad ones.
Yeah,
last.
let's talk about the big two last.
Yeah.
So to wit, I'll start with The Forgotten Island, which is a DreamWorks animated movie coming out in September.
Yes.
I think this looks really good.
The animation is very similar to K-pop Demon Hunters. It doesn't have the stutter.
No, it's from the people that did Puss in Boots.
Yes, which was a huge...
Yeah, it was like an offshoot from the Into the Spider-Verse people, so they were using a lot of the same rules and metrics, so it has a lot of that same feel of like very action-beated animation. The animation looks great, the storytelling looks great, the characters look interesting, it's not based on anything. This looks really good.
So what I got from this trailer is it's 50-50 right now how it's going to go. It depends on how they... Like, I guess I want to know more about the story.
Yeah.
But I guarantee this thing is not going to make a dime in the theaters.
I really wonder because...
I don't think it...
Because it's interesting. Puss in Boots was a critical success. A box office middling. It wasn't great. I think it had 2 weeks at number one, which is about average for a kids movie in March. But then it found a huge audience online afterwards of animation enthusiasts that were like, oh, a Shrek movie? I don't want to go see a Shrek movie. Yeah. And then it came out and they had easier access and they were like, oh shit, this isn't like just a Shrek movie. This is like an actual really good movie. I kind of wonder if this isn't going to be something similar.
That's what I'm thinking. Because now it seems like animated movies do not do well unless they have like a big name or something attached to it going into the theater.
Well, that's what Disney argues. They point at Elio and they say, look, nobody wants original stuff. They only want stuff that they're familiar with.
Well, no, but I'm not even talking like the name of the movie, but like the studio Disney. Sometimes that people will see that and be like, oh, I want to go see that. But it's animated movies... To our chagrin, I know, have taken a massive hit. I mean, think about one of the favorites we've talked about recently, Kubo and the Two String. That movie was spectacular, and it did nothing at the box office. No. And it's just because and like this movie looks great, but it looks great in a lot of out there ways that might turn off the normal mouth breathers that'll just go see a movie because they think it looks fun.
Yeah.
This does look challenging to the mind in a lot of ways, in the way that they do some of the cutaways and some of the animations, and it's like that's where I'm thinking I think it'll excel on a streaming service.
Yeah.
But I think in the theater it won't do overly well.
Yeah, it'll probably end up on Netflix at some point and be like the big thing that everybody watches.
Oh, it'll
Netflix.
Be huge.
It'll be huge on Netflix in November or something. But no, I hope that this is really good. I hope that it gets an audience because it's colorful and loud and, can grab kids' attention. This reminds me of Mitchell's vs. Machines. This reminds me of K-pop Demon Hunters.
Mitchell's vs. Machines was fucking awesome.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like that was another one that nobody thought anything about. And then you watch it and you're just like, oh shit, this is like a great fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like not just like a middle of the road, like, oh, if you like it, you like it. And there's parts of it that you can, but like a great fucking movie. And I hope that The Forgotten Island is that. I fear you might be right because it's so hard to tell. Because Elio had a lot of those same things and it crashed and burned because
the big problem with Elio, though, they also did not promote that thing well. Like, at all. And I think that's another problem is... these studios like to blame the audience for some of these movies not doing well, but it's like, well, you really did a dog shit way promoting it.
You didn't find an audience for it.
No, not at all.
You just threw it out there and hoped somebody would find it and like it. They've done that with a few things. I think of Turning Red. I think of a few movies that Disney has kind of been like, oh, no one will care about this. And they just kind of shock it off onto the...
Which I can't remember. Was Ron's Gone Wrong? Was that...
That wasn't Disney, but that was the same kind of thing. I think that was also DreamWorks. I love
that movie. That was DreamWorks. I love that movie.
And so, but like I hope that this movie, I'm sure it will find an audience eventually,
I hope so.
But I hope that it finds an audience in theaters. But I just hope it's good because it looks really great. I'm really excited for it. Something I'm not super pumped about is Stranger Things Tales of 85. Animated, great, exciting. The kids, wow, they're kids. Okay, interesting. Takes place in 1985, but seems to take place between season 2 and season 3, so this must be like really early 1985. we're gonna add to the canon. This is where I start getting a little dicey on things.
And I'll be honest, I think Stranger Things has outlived its welcome.
Yeah,
it's like it's been around long enough now. It's been around for over a decade.
Over
now.
10 years.
It's been around over a decade. The last season was multiple 2-hour-long movies. So it's like, I think people need a break from Stranger Things.
We're going to do Stranger Things on the show at some point. I might just do it as a watch, play, read.
Yeah, because I don't even have Netflix anymore, so I won't watch it.
Because there's so many elements of it that I'm just so... In retrospect, I'm disappointed by. While I was watching it, I really enjoyed it. But it's one of those things where, in retrospect, especially as you learn things, you're like, oh, really? And I don't agree that this is in line with Game of Thrones Season 8. I do think that the production side has a lot of the same earmarks as Season 8, okay. Where you have creators who don't care. And who are kind of done with the project and ready to move on to the next thing, even though no one else is, and their audience doesn't have the same vision of it that they do. So you got to bring it home, and then you find out that they didn't have a plan, and then they scrapped their plan and rewrote the entire season based on an actress in the most recent Evil Dead. And you're just like, that's not a good sign.
No,
that's not good.
They should have found a way to end the story in the previous season. Well, and not even done this last one.
Not even that. Like, they made the terrible mistake of recasting her, so she's like far older than she had been. To the point where I spent the first 3 episodes of the most recent season trying to figure out how old is Holly. I thought I knew how old Holly was, but now she's way older than she was 2 years ago. So anyway,
it's too bad.
Stranger Things: Tales of 85. I'm frustrated by it because it suffers a lot of the same problems. You don't have any of the returning voice cast, which makes sense for the kids, but not for any of the adults. You could totally have all the adults come back if you wanted to. So either they didn't want to, which I've heard a lot of them are also done with this. They're ready to move on.
Good for them.
At the same time, you're kind of bummed as a fan. The animation is...
It's not good.
It's not good. It's not acceptable. Good. I'm very I just watched this Ninja Turtle show that has the same quality of animation. I grew up at a time when this kind of animation was born in the early 2000s, when you had fucking Beast Wars at the late 90s and Max Steel and Action Man and all these shows, Cubics that used this shit style of CGI. Reboot. I fucking love Reboot. You know what wasn't good about Reboot? The computer animation. You know what made sense? The computer animation, because the show took place in a computer, so it made sense. None of these other shows had that benefit. And I look at this and I see Reboot. It's this blocky, textureless, terrible animation. The characters look vaguely like the characters, but also you're kind of looking for the bigger earmarks than any specific details.
That threw me off too when I'm watching and I'm like...
The faces are bad, the hands are bad, the expressions are bad, the movement is bad, the animation is blocky.
It looks like a bad licensed video game.
Yeah.
You're like, it's not the same.
At no point am I impressed by any of this.
Nope.
When I watch shows like Invincible, where they talk at length about the way that they get around animation and how they use budget and use techniques from anime to really sell points and all these other things that you could use, but instead you're using this shitty, terrible CGI, computer rendered, awful garbage animation. It's why I can't watch Clone Wars. It's why I find some shows just so hard to get through. It's just the animation just sucks and it takes you out of the moment.
Yep.
And then on top of it, you're adding new characters, you're adding monsters, you're adding events that won't have any impact on the actual canon. So the entire show isn't canon. So this is a what-if story that's not actually being called a what-if story?
Yeah.
This means nothing to me.
Yeah, no, I think this would be a mistake. It'll probably do well. I mean...
I don't know. I think it might be like the Witcher animateds, where some people watch them, but the vast majority of people don't even know what they are. I think that this is going to be one of those things where a handful of people watch it, say it's bad, and then no one else cares. Yeah. And they just assume, that bad Stranger Things animated. Which is frustrating because I think that an animated Stranger Things show isn't a bad idea.
Yeah.
I think on principle it's a good idea. I think there are elements of this that are interesting. I just think that you're going the wrong way about it when you start inventing things that won't actually be a part of the canon. And I am excited to see the kids go through and actually have a D&D campaign in real life with swords and slashing. But like, that's not... I feel like that would have come up at some point in the show if that was actually part of the canon. So it's just... I now have to write off anything that happens in the show as meaningless, which means that I'm not interested in it.
And it's a money grab. It's a cash grab.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Hugely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stay tuned for my thoughts on Stranger Things coming to an episode near you because, wow, that season 4, now that I've had time to think about it, there's a lot of tough, jagged pieces to it. Okay. So 2 big trailers dropped. One we have differing opinions on. One we are united on. So let's start with the one we have differing opinions on. The new Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone trailer dropped for the new HBO Max miniseries coming in Christmas. This is the series that portends to follow the books and is supposedly going to be what you and I, but also we Harry Potter fans writ large, have been clamoring for, which was each season is one book. It's
what they did with the Percy Jackson series on Disney+.
Thank God they're finally doing it. Now, there's a lot of conflict as a result of this as well.
And like, here's my big problem. It looks like it'll be quality.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything about the quality. I just think Harry Potter has the same problem that Nightmare on Elm Street had. Is it wasn't the character. It was the performer. Mm-hmm. Like, when they redid Nightmare on Elm Street, the movie wasn't terrible, but Freddy Krueger is Robert Englund. Yeah. He just is. I'm watching this trailer, and I'm like, the actors that portrayed the characters in the movies were so good and were such a part of growing up with this series that I don't... Like, I love Nick Frost. Mm-hmm. He's not Hagrid.
I am so excited to see his Hagrid.
Robbie Coltrane is. I know, but it's like, it's just when he looks like somebody cosplaying Hagrid to me.
Yeah.
And, I am one of the biggest proponents to gender swapping. I'm not even going to say race swapping, because humans are all one race. Like skin color swapping. Snape is always Alan Rickman.
This is going to be...
It's always Alan Rickman.
Well, and not only that, it's a role that
is described in the book, but it's also described in the book.
That's the thing, is that it's a role in general, whether we're talking about the book, whether we're talking about the implications of the character, or whether we're talking about previous iterations of the character, all 3 do not recast well.
No.
Because he is a sneaky, conniving, self-centered individual who has dark machinations over other people and holds deep grudges against people. And it's just like, and that's going to be your one black guy in the show?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
But that aside, once again, he is described pretty solid in the book, and they nailed it with Rickman. Yeah. And it's like...
They literally say he has sallow, waxy skin.
Yeah, with the long, greasy... And he's got like dreadlocks, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
That's not... And it's like, to me, I think they could have gotten away with, say they got an Asian gentleman.
Even that, I don't think that's right.
It wouldn't have been right, but you could pull off, because you have to pull off the, like, hollow, pale look.
But, like, my thing is...
That is the big thing.
That's my thing. That's why I want him to be white. I want the villain to be white. I want the villain to be white and sickly and like, off-putting, because I want the villain to be hateable. I want the villain to be reprehensible. I want the villain to represent the downfalls and villainy of this world. I don't think that you get that same effect. I think that it just... I just don't like it. I just think that it doesn't work for this character. I think that, recasting Hermione is brilliant. And one of my favorite things I've seen in various iterations is when people take the description of Hermione as having massive, frizzy, uncontrollable hair. And they say, oh, okay, there are groups of people that have hair like that. Let's plug one of them in. Great. I think that's brilliant. I think that's so smart. I don't think this works, and I think it actually works to the detriment of everything else you're trying to build.
Well, and that's the thing is you're trying to convince people that are absolute. I mean, the majority of the people that are Harry Potter fans absolutely adore the movies.
Yeah,
and you're trying to convince these folks. Okay. I have a lot I don't like about the movies because they get away from the books a lot because it's tough to fit such a big book like Goblet of Fire and all that into a movie.
My thing is that we've had to create a very fragile piece.
Yes.
Of like, the books are the books and the movies are the movies. It's not like Lord of the Rings where it's like the books and the movies are relatively close. There's elements that are definitely very different. Mom, I know. Like, super, super different.
Yes.
I know, Mom. I know. But by and large, in terms of the tentpole moments, they're the same. Whereas the movies begin that way, and then at 3 depart.
Yes.
And then at 4 move further. And then 5 move a little back, and then 6 move even further, and then 7 is kind of saved by being bifurcated. If it wasn't bifurcated, you'd have a huge problem.
But that's where and it's when I say beloved movies, it's not necessarily the narrative because it is so shattered from the books.
Yeah.
If you look at the casting of Harry Potter movies, I don't think anyone could have done a better job than casting every single person in those movies. And that's where I'm getting off with this. Because, like, I'm watching the show, and I'm like, I know, because, like, even with Percy Jackson, they're putting, and the books are much shorter for Percy Jackson, and they're putting a whole season as a book, they're still screwing it up and taking things out and, like, messing with things. And so I'm like, they're going to do that with this show, too. There's no way they're going to be like beat for beat or in that same. And so it's like, okay, how is the quality of the casting? Mm-hmm. So when you're trying to convince people, okay, well, you're going to love this just as much. It's unnecessary to me to take a character like Snape and make the change that they're making.
Well, we haven't even gotten into the politics of this show.
Well, of course, but that's where I want to stay. Like, that's where I want my opinion to be away from.
Yeah,
it's not that way from me because I honestly think they could have cast like a distinguished African American gentleman as Dumbledore, and that would have been fine.
That would have been great. Yeah, I would have been
perfectly fine. And like you said, Hermione, I love how her character looks now, but it's like you're taking that.
Well, that's my point, is that they picked the wrong character to do this with.
Yes, absolutely.
There are other, better, more suited characters to do this kind of thing with than Snape. Doing it with Snape is counterproductive on multiple fronts.
Yeah.
It alienates the core audience. It creates a unpleasant mental dissonance between the character and preconceived ideas brought in from culture.
Yeah.
It doesn't serve to make the character new or different, except in the most abrasive, clear way possible. And it's just like, well, that's lazy.
Yeah.
I'll always point to that and be like, well, that's lazy. That being said, I'm really excited for John Lithgow as Dumbledore. I think his hat is stupid, but I'm really excited for John Lithgow as Dumbledore.
I love John Lithgow, but I'm cautious.
Yeah.
Because I loved Richard Harris. I grew to love Michael Gambon.
We got there by the end.
By the end, that's what I mean. It wasn't. It took a while. 4.
4 is rough.
4 is very rough. Like 3, he was tolerable. 4, he was rough.
3 was fun when you got to moments like the time turner at the end.
Yes,
where they're walking in and they're like, "We did it, Professor," and he's like, "I don't know what you're talking."
Yes.
Bye.
That's the playful Dumbledore.
You know, like that was good, but 4 terrible.
4 was terrible.
5 obvious plot reasons why he has to be aloof and distant.
The fight at the end of 5 was awesome. So that kind of is a pass.
I do really remember coming out of 6 and being like, man, Michael Gambon really fucking killed it.
And then I loved him like in the afterlife in 7. He was awesome. Like that speech in the train station was so good.
Yeah.
But it's like, I love Lithgow, but I think that's good. I mean, my other big problem is I don't have HBO Max and I'm not going to get it just to see this. But it's like, I don't feel like this is necessary. It's like if somebody decides to redo Lord of the Rings. It's not necessary.
See,
like, I understand why they're doing it, and I understand that fans have been asking for them, but once again, I would need to see it to see how much they're going to change.
See, that's what I'm very curious about. And unfortunately, we're not going to get real results until season 3.
Yeah.
Because book 1 and book 2, as Christopher Columbus shows, are actually very adaptable into a more fragmented, smaller bite form. That being said, the tentpoles that I see here look really promising. The fact that they do have Harry at school before Hogwarts, that's huge to me. I think that's enormous to me. We had conversations beforehand of like, did that happen in the book? Like, trying to remember, because it's not something that's covered in the first movie at all. Having the way and flow of everything feels familiar but new. And I really do feel like the books, the movies are lacking something. You know?
Oh, no, they're definitely lacking.
They lack huge things. Even if it's just having Peeves in season 1, where you have a more ghost presence, where the ghosts actually mean more within the story. So when you get to the 7th book, you understand why the ghosts are there. Like, I feel like this is an opportunity to make everything mean more and to right the wrongs that, you know, going back to my reaction to the Spider-Man trailer last week, there are people that just don't understand huge elements of the books because all they saw were the movies and they just never got it because the movies don't cover that stuff. And so they find characters weird and replaceable and disregarded. And because the movies didn't care about those characters, because they didn't have time to, because there were too many other things that they had to do. We could get Spew. We could get the fucking Hufflepuffs. We could meet Ernie and Hannah and like...
Yeah. No, we could definitely get more.
I think it's a good investment. I'm not sure it's going to work, and I'm sure there's going to be stuff that gets cut.
Yeah.
But I'm very curious, and I think it could be really interesting.
So I've watched this trailer 3 times.
Yeah.
One of the things the casting is my big problem. I think I've pretty much... in every aspect of every character, especially Aunt Petunia, I think they nailed her in the movie. But like the Draco Malfoy character, he looks too old.
I don't remember him enough in the trailer to really be able to
It's just that one scene, and he's got the like poofy hair instead of slick back. But like when you look at Harry, Ron, and Hermione, they look age appropriate. They look like the right age. They look like 11-year-olds. He looks like he's 14 or 15. When I saw him in the trailer, and that really stood out to me. I'm like, I know that's supposed to, unless it's not Draco, but it's a blonde kid that looks evil with a bunch of minions behind him, so I'm assuming it's Draco.
It's gotta be Draco.
He just looks too old.
Yeah.
And that threw me off too. I'm like, I hope I was wrong in what I've been seeing, but I really don't have a warm fuzzy after this trailer.
I'm curious, but I'm of course conflicted because of J.K. Rowling. I'm not going to dwell on this long, but it is a thing that I'm very frustrated by, is that as soon as this trailer dropped, a entire quadrant of the internet that have biases of various kinds sprang up and immediately said, this is bad, and if you want to watch it, you're a bad person. And all because J.K. Rowling is involved in it, and she has very publicly come out and said, any Harry Potter money I make is immediately and specifically going into anti-trans movements in the UK. And it's just like, God, for fuck's sake, can we just have one thing? Can we just have one thing where I don't have to argue and get on the other side of things and be like, listen, if you polled every person that worked on this, I don't think all of them agree with J.K. Rowling's stance on things. Yes. So this is more than just her. Is she making money from this? Of course she is. But is she the only person making money from this? No. Is she the only person that this serves? No. Does this erase the original movies? Of course not. And just like all of these wild claims that I've seen. And I'm just like, can we all pump the brakes?
See, and I'll be honest, that's the positive of being off of social media. Like, I don't, of course, agree with her.
No, of
but
course
I don't give a shit. I can separate very easily. Like, I still love John Wayne movies. He was one of the worst human beings fucking ever lived. I still watch Kevin Spacey movies. Horrible human being.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you can't.
Well, you look at Baby Driver. Baby Driver has Ansel Elgort and Kevin Spacey. Two people that have both, since that movie came out, gotten into hot water for their behavior. Yep. And it's directed by Edgar Wright, who hasn't had anything bad happen, but has made jokes that people have pointed to and been like, oh, look what he said back in this time.
That drives me nuts.
And so, but this is what I mean.
Yeah.
At some point, if we get down into it, that's the case for literally everything.
Yes.
So,
everybody that makes art has some kind of a screw loose and has skeletons in their closet. And it's like, if you poke around for everybody, you're gonna find poke around. Fucking don't go poke around my closet. You're gonna find shit back in the day that I said that I regret.
So I'm like,
but it's like you can't dwell on that shit.
Well, not only that, is she involved? Yes. Is her name front and center? Yes. Am I upset about that? Hugely.
Yes.
I can't let that determine whether I watch something or not.
It would be different if her negative message was part of
this thing,
the story.
Yeah.
But it has nothing. In fact, it is a very inclusive and very open story. That's the most
ironic thing. If WB would just drive up to her house and say, we will give you $5 billion and you sign over Harry Potter and you never do anything with it ever again, and it's more money than you'll ever make off of Harry Potter moving forward with your name attached to it, because people actively avoid it if you are part of it. And then we can just be free of her.
Yeah.
And then she can just be gone.
But that's the problem, is she's already a billionaire. So
no,
she has
I know,
that above
so she
the
doesn't
law.
need to.
No.
She single-handedly funded the cause for Scotland to stay in the UK. Single-handedly she funded that.
Yeah.
And so of course she doesn't need any more money, but it's just like, it's just so frustrating. It's just so frustrating. It'd be like if George Lucas said some really racist shit and still had control over Star Wars. And you're like, well, am I just not supposed to like this thing that I think would be hugely inclusive, including to the very people that are offended by it because of its creator? Yes, I think Harry Potter would be hugely inclusive to the trans community at large, if not for this one dumb fucking person. So, anyway, that's all I wanted to say about that, is that I'm very conflicted and frustrated, and I don't know how to feel. And I don't like it, because usually I know exactly how I feel.
Yes.
Lastly,
God.
I only have one thing to say about this, which is that the new Moana live action trailer dropped. I guess I have two things to say about this. One, Disney doesn't know how to make movies look good. If you look online, there's a great color-corrected version of the trailer that makes it look way, way better, which isn't saying much because, holy shit, this thing looks garbage. And I'm looking squarely at The Rock, and I'm saying, I smell what The Rock is cooking, and I want no fucking part of whatever this trash that I'm smelling off the wind. It smells like ozone and blood as my nostrils are just heaving blood from the garbage smell.
His line delivery in this trailer looked...
The wig! The line delivery! The fact that for the third time in his career, it's funny that it keeps happening, but for the third time in his career, The Rock is playing a demigod who doesn't look like a demigod.
Yeah.
He's too small. How is he too small? But he's too small.
Yeah.
The Scorpion King, too small until he gets CGI'd out. Hercules, too small. How is he too small? And now here, he's too small.
Yeah.
How in the world is he too small? But he's too small.
So I'm going to say something that might be shocking, but it isn't to me. I really enjoy Disney animated movies.
Yeah.
But I've never been so in love with one. Like, I understand the live action remakes they've done of all the ones in the past are garbage. Because if you're going to do a live action remake, you need to make it better than the original. They have not done that.
No.
But I like Lion King. I like these movies. I don't love them. I like them. I fucking love Moana.
I love
Moana is my favorite Disney animated movie.
Yeah.
And so when I saw this trailer, it got me so fucking mad because it looks so terrible.
It looks so
the
bad.
animated Pua looked horrible. The CGI Pua that she's hugging up, dude. This trailer, I wanted to just punch my TV.
This looks like hot garbage.
Because the Moana animated movie was the first thing we watched when we got a 4K TV. That movie, still to this day, is stunning.
Yeah.
Stunning. stunning how beautiful the animation and the colors and the songs and everything is so perfect. And even the stupid Rock just doing the voice of Maui works because they were able to animate the face of Maui to show fucking depth, even though the Rock has none of it. And it's like, this is just dog shit.
This is as bad
if it makes $1 billion, I'm going to give up on life, because it's like, this movie should not make more than $5.
Like, that's what I'm frustrated by. Is it's like it feels like we need different box offices so that we can get the numbers and run them through a filter and be like, okay, this is the actual number. Because there's so many kids movies that make a lot of box office money and make a lot of streaming money, and it's because I'm doing air quotes for the friends at home. Because you plant a kid in front of it and the parents don't have to do anything. You take the kids out to a movie and it's Garfield with Chris Pratt and Sam Jackson. Why? Like, these movies are hugely successful by that standard. But if we're talking about them being good movies, no one would look at any of these and say it's a good movie. You know who came out of the Lilo and Stitch movie last year and said it was a good movie? No one.
Yeah.
You know how much money that made?
$1 billion.
A fuck ton. Because parents just came and they planted their kids in front of it and they said, okay, mommy's going to go off and do whatever the fuck. I'm going to take a nap. And 2 hours later, families walk out, they're all happy because it was this benign piece of garbage nothing that in 20 years there's going to be a horde of 21-year-olds all saying, you know what's much maligned that it was actually great was the live-action Disney phase. I don't know why people hate it. Like the Jim Carrey Grinch, like so many other garbage, like Star Wars The Phantom Menace, like so many other movies that people have forgotten were hot trash.
Yeah.
And nothing about them has changed in 20 years except for the people that watched them when they were kids got older. And so their opinions are more weighted now because they're older. But you know what? They were still hot trash.
Yeah.
This is going to be hot trash.
It looks so bad.
This looks as bad as The Rock's wig.
This is, out of all the live action Disney movie first trailers I've seen, this one is the worst. Like Aladdin was pushing it.
Aladdin was pretty bad.
But this one, I think this is worse. Like, this is really bad.
That's the other thing, was that Aladdin had this quotient added to it of, it's not the Robin Williams genie.
Yeah. And
it's Will Smith.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so first you have to deduct for it not being Robin Williams, and then you have to deduct again because it's Will Smith.
Because of Will Smith.
The closest you have to it is the fact that The Rock is here playing The Rock.
Yeah.
Which should be exciting, but so God help me, that looks so... It looks like such shit. It looks so bad.
And I remember seeing like a set visit, and he's wearing a suit over his body that has all the tattoos on it.
Yeah.
And if you look at him, he's gotten I think he's finally off the juice at his age finally.
Because it's bad for his heart.
Because he's gotten really thin.
Yeah.
And so I think they put like a muscle suit on him to make him look, but he's still not anywhere near the size of Maui in the movie.
You love CGI. Just make him bigger digitally. Like, I don't know why you don't just make him digitally
Honestly,
larger.
As bad as the CGI is in this, I don't want to see them fuck with that anymore.
I don't want to see them fuck with it either, but like, I'm surprised you didn't do it here, considering how much you fucking love it.
Oh, this thing is so bad.
No, I'm done with talking about it because it looks like
it's not.
It looks bad.
Not.
It looks so bad, and the only way that I'm going to talk about it is in reference to how fucking bad it looks.
Yeah.